Alright, well there you have it guys. Finally the reveal of my 2002 Honda CR250R Nikki Hayden tribute bike. It's a moment we've been waiting for a really long time. When I got this bike, shoot, I think it was like back in November, I believe it was. Never imagined that it would have turned out this incredible. As you guys can see, the bike just turned out so unique and so cool, and hopefully the orange wheels make sense now. So obviously this is a pretty special bike. It's a pretty special replica bike, and I'm assuming a lot of you guys watching this right now weren't following all the build videos just because this is like the big reveal and it's what most people just want to see. So what do you say we take the bike back in the workshop and we'll go over this thing head to toe, tell you guys everything that's done to it and a little bit more about why I chose to do a Nikki Hayden tribute bike, and just show you all the sick parts that are on this thing, and just say thank you to everyone who helped out with the build, give credit where credit is due. So let's go back in the shop and check this thing out in a little bit more detail. Oh my gosh, you guys, I will just never get tired of looking at that thing. It's just so cool, so unique. Just so unlike anything that I've ever seen before, and I just absolutely love it. So I'm assuming most of you know who Nikki Hayden is, but for those of you who don't, he was a MotoGP and World Superbike racer, so that's like the street bike racing on the closed circuits. It's basically the pinnacle of motorcycle racing. It's kind of like the Formula One of the motorcycle racing world. It's not as big over here in the States, but it's really huge over in Europe, and there's not too many Americans who actually race it. There's really only a handful of Americans who have ever won the MotoGP World Championship, and Nikki Hayden is one of those people. He won it back in 2006, obviously while he was aboard the Repsol Honda racing team. So this bike is a replica of his 2006 championship winning bike. So that in and of itself makes this bike pretty special. Nikki Hayden is just an American legend basically, but obviously for those of you who do know Nikki's story, there's more to the story that makes this bike special. Unfortunately, back in 2017, Nikki actually passed away while he was on a training cycling ride. He was still racing in the World Superbike Series up until 2017. He was out for just a training ride on his road bicycle and unfortunately had a collision with a car, and he suffered some brain injuries that he wasn't able to recover from, and unfortunately passed away a couple days later. So not only is this bike a really special replica, but it's a really special tribute bike for Nikki. So Nikki was obviously like an American hero basically in the MotoGP world. Like I said, one of the very few Americans to ever win the championship, and when he passed away, it had a really big impact, not only on the MotoGP, but on the motocross side of things too. If you guys were watching pro motocross and supercross at the time of his passing, you guys would have seen a bunch of top pros supporting him through that whole thing. I know Will Hahn still runs the number 69 because that was obviously Nikki's racing number. And I know Justin Barcia ran the 69 butt patch for a really long time, and there were a bunch of people showing a lot of support for him during that time. So I know him and his family were also quite into motocross too, so there was that kind of crossover there. So the next question is, why did I decide to do the Nikki Hayden tribute bike? When I got this thing, it was kind of right around the time that I did the Straight Rhythm last year, which was, as you guys know, based all around like replica bikes. I was on a David Pingree replica. I know like Ken Roxon was on a Jeremy McGrath. There was just a bunch of replica bikes. So I knew when I got this bike, I wanted to do a replica because I just thought that was really cool seeing all those old bikes out there. But as you guys know, every iconic Honda motocross bike from the past has been done a million times. Like the 1985 Hondas with the gold rims and the red frames and the blue forks. That's been done 100 times. The Ricky Carmichael Woody Woodpecker graphics has been done 100 times. The TLD bikes, the Geico bikes, it's all been done before. And I really wanted this bike to stand out, which I think we accomplished. But like I said, I knew I wanted it to be a replica, so I started to look at famous Hondas from other forms of motorsports. I looked at Formula One, like the Red Bull cars use a Honda engine, so I looked at that. I looked at the Honda Formula One team from way back in the day, the orange and white color scheme, but nothing was really speaking to me, and that's when I came across Marc Marquez riding his Repsol Honda, which is pretty much the same scheme as my bike right now. And that's when I remembered that Nikki Hayden had passed away a couple years ago. So I definitely knew that that was a really cool idea, and I was kind of on the fence about it because I didn't know how the whole neon orange wheels and the orange and white and red setup was gonna look on a Honda. But I just so happened to notice that the day I picked up this bike, I had 69,000 subscribers. So it was kind of just like a sign that it was just meant to be, and in that moment I knew that that's what I wanted to do. No matter how crazy the wheels and the color scheme was gonna be, I knew that that's just something that we had to do. So I started to make a few calls, see if we could make that happen, and a couple months later we're left with the result behind me. So anyways, that's why I decided to do the Nikki Hayden tribute bike. I thought it was a really cool idea, and obviously I think the bike turned out amazing. You guys were questioning the wheels for a really long time, and rightly so. I mean, even I was questioning them. Like, neon orange wheels on a Honda was definitely pretty questionable. But I hope now that you guys see the finished product, like, you understand and you kind of support that, because I think it's just absolutely sick. So anyways, there's the reasoning behind it and the big reveal. I hope you guys like it. Now we'll go into everything that's put on this bike and all the people who helped me out. I'm also going to be linking every part on this bike down in the description below. So as I said before, I'm paired up with Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and if you guys click one of those links and get any of those parts for your bike, it helps out my program. So when I'm going over this bike, showing you guys all the parts, if any of them are available on Rocky Mountain ATV MC, I'll link those down below so you guys can go check them out. Really helps me out. If you're taking this quarantine to build one of your bikes or just refresh one of your bikes or whatever, I really appreciate it if you click one of those links, get your products through them. Really helps me out. But anyways, let's jump into this thing and check out exactly what we've done to it. So we'll start off with the top here. We're kitted out with all Pro Taper components, bars, grips, throttle tube, hand guards, as well as the chain and sprockets. I've been using Pro Taper for a really long time, love all their stuff. I just like all the innovation that they have, so it was a no-brainer to go with Pro Taper. Moving on to the graphics kit, that was done by Adept Creative Co. You guys can see the logo right there. They obviously did an incredible job on this thing. They were previously known as MGX Unlimited. They did my past couple Hondas that I raced for the past couple of years, so they've always done an amazing job, and they knocked it out of the park with this kit. They even tried out something new with this holographic flake that you guys can see in the graphics here. It goes over the entire bike. I think I got it pretty good in some shots outside, so you guys should be able to see that. Looks absolutely amazing. I actually have a 25% off discount code for you guys. It's just JWalk, so if you head over to adeptcreativeco.com and use JWalk at checkout, 25% off of your graphics order. So thank you to Adept Creative for that. Definitely go and check them out right now. Guts Racing also helped us out with the seat cover for this thing. Looks really good. The suspension, all coated and put together by SGB Racing. They did a phenomenal job with that stuff, and they put the Race Tech gold valves in it, which I've been running on all of my bikes. So for the fork, we went with the Kashima upper and the black DLC lower. Same with the shock over here, where you have a gold upper and then the shock shaft is the DLC black. So that stuff looks great. Obviously haven't gotten to ride it yet, but can't wait to see how that feels. This thing should feel like a completely brand new bike when I go ride it. Stoked to have SGB Racing and Race Tech on this thing. Moving on down to the piece that really sets this bike off, the wheels and all of the coated parts on this thing. The neon orange wheels, the red triple clamps, the Kickstarter, the brake lever, the linkage, a couple other little pieces here and there. That was all done by Elite Powders LLC down in Florida. When they heard that I was doing this build, they reached out and wanted to see if they could help at all. And I was like, actually, I need some neon orange wheels, so maybe you can help me out with that. And they did a phenomenal job. It looks so sick. Definitely what really sets this bike apart. The brake systems were all done up and Cerakoted by Moto Blasters LLC. They're another company who is local to me down in Florida, and same with Elite Powders. They reached out to me and wanted to see if they could help out with this build, and they coated up all my brakes for me. So those things turned out sick. It's one of my favorite parts of this build because it just looks so factory. So thank you to those guys. Works Connection also helped out. I've been running their Works Connection perch on my past couple of Hondas and absolutely love it. So they hooked it up with that. The hour meter mounted on the tank here, and then a couple little finishing kits like the master cylinder caps, the engine plugs, and a couple other little things. Moving on to the heart of this engine. I know I've said it in every build video. This was done by another YouTuber, Adam Paganelli. He does some amazing dirt bike builds over on his channel. I'll put it up in the corner so you guys can go check that out. He actually did a couple videos of this build here, so if you guys want to see him putting this bike together, go check that out over on his channel. But this thing was super crusty when I got the bike. He took it all apart, did a bunch of vapor blasting and Cerakoting. Like, this thing looks like it just came off the showroom floor. He paired it up with a Fathead Racing head, which is engraved with the JWalk logo, which is really sick. Anodized red, it looks amazing with the bike. The rebuild was done with a Wiseco Garage Buddy kit, so really high quality rebuild on this thing, so I trust it to last a really long time, even with me beating on it. So feel really good about that. Boyson helped out with some engine covers as well as with a reed. And then of course we paired it up with Electron Carburetor, which is something that I'm most excited about. I hate having to jet things, so having the Electron Carburetor on there is going to be just a godsend. It's going to make it perform amazing in any conditions. I had it on my 125 last year, loved it, made it run amazing, so really happy to have Electron supplying a carburetor for this build. We also went with the FMF Gold Series fatty expansion chamber and paired it up with the shorty exhaust. That seems to be a really common combination in the motocross world, so went with something easy that I knew was gonna work good. Like I said earlier, Pro Taper sprockets and chain, as well as a couple Tusk Racing parts on there just to finish it off and make it look really good. So that's pretty much everything that we did to this bike over the past couple months. It has been one heck of a journey. This is my first bike that I've really taken all the way down to the frame and done a lot of cool stuff to, and then put together and kind of made my own. So I'm really stoked with how everything came out, and huge thank you to everyone who was involved with making this thing turn out the way that it did. Could not be happier with it. Every part that went onto this bike was really carefully thought out and planned, and I'm really grateful that I had a bunch of awesome companies and people working with me to make this thing as sick as it is. From the graphics, the engine, the suspension, the wheels, just everything, I could not have asked for a better build. There were obviously a lot of times when I was looking at this thing before it was all finished and I was just kind of thinking to myself, like, what on earth did I just do? This is looking so dumb. Like, I made a mistake. Why am I doing this? But now that it's in its full form, like, it looks so good, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I know a lot of you were split on the wheels, like half of you hated it, half of you really loved it. So hopefully I convinced the other half that hated it that it was a good idea, and hopefully you guys can kind of appreciate and respect the tribute bike that we're doing here. And obviously I'm not gonna leave it like this forever. The wheels are just powder coated, so I'm not really sure how long those are gonna hold up. It'll be kind of interesting to see how many motos I get out of them. But eventually, once the wheels are destroyed and we've kind of, you know, gone through the whole replica thing, we'll probably convert this bike back over into just a regular red Honda with black wheels. But until then, I'm gonna enjoy the crap out of this thing, put in some serious motos on it, make some incredible content for you guys. I know you guys are really excited to see me ride this thing, and if you can't tell, I'm super excited to ride it too. Never seriously ridden a 252 stroke before, so I'm so excited to see what all this two-stroke hype is about. So once again, thank you to everyone who was involved. Thank you guys for watching. I love seeing all your guys' feedback, all your comments, all the hype and everything. You guys were really excited about this build, and it's just so cool to have you guys getting involved with it as well. So hope you guys are excited to see me rip this thing, because that's all that we have left to do. Put some gas in it, head to the track, and shred it, which is exactly what we're gonna do tomorrow. So stay tuned, because the next video we're gonna be breaking this thing in, making sure all the bugs are fixed, because this weekend we're going to Redbud, baby. Redbud's having their first open ride of the year. We're taking the 252 stroke. Maybe we'll huck the leap on it. Probably not, but you know, you never know. It's always a possibility. So I hope you guys are excited. Definitely stay tuned for the next video. We're not quite done with the surprises. We have one more surprise for you guys dealing with this build, and we'll show you tomorrow. But anyways, guys, I hope you like the bike. I'm absolutely in love with it. I like to think that Nicky would be proud if he could see this thing right now. And if somehow his brother Roger sees this, I hope that he's really stoked on it, because this was definitely a pretty special build for me, and it's just such a unique and cool bike. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned, because we're gonna be shredding this thing very soon. And thank you for all the support. We'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.